Hi, my name is Elle. I'm a cross-stitch artist and designer here on TikTok, and today I'm going to be answering Ravia's question, how do you remove stitches in case you mess up or use the wrong color? In the fiber arts world, whether that's cross-stitching, knitting, crocheting, etc., the common term for having to remove stitches is called frogging. In fact, the term is so ubiquitous in this that Pattern Keeper uses a little picture of a frog to denote when you're going to be removing stitches that you've already stitched. There are a couple different ways to remove stitches from your cross-stitching piece. One of the easiest ways is to take a stitch ripper or a seam ripper like you would use in sewing, and you actually slice the threads and remove the individual stitches that you need. However, I misplaced my seam ripper, so I can't show you that method. So I'm gonna show you the slower method, but I actually prefer this way of doing it, and I'll kind of explain why as I do it.
So on my piece here, I've accidentally stitched these 4 little purple stitches a little bit too close to the pink. I wanted them to be one more row down, so I'm going to have to remove them. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to take my little pair of scissors and I'm going to cut off the little knot that I had tied to secure the end. If you've secured this with another method, you may still have to use a seam ripper in order to get it detached from the fabric itself before you start pulling stitches. Now, I also stitched this using the Danish method, so what I'm going to do on the front side is I'm going to pull out the very top part of that first X, just like that. So I'm going to use my needle to just go gently under 1/2 of the X and remove it and just give it a gentle pull, and then I go on to the next one. And I just go all the way across my row like that. Like I said, I did use the Danish method. Sometimes it takes a couple little tries to get it to unpick itself because the threads do try to weave themselves together. One of the reasons I like this method more than going at it with the seam ripper all the way across is that this tends to, in my experience, leave the integrity of the cloth together a little bit more, and plus I don't have a bunch of fiddly little thread bits, like tiny bitty pieces of thread, just kind of floating around my workspace. Like I would if I had used the seam ripper. And so now I'm getting right back to the end. As you can see, I just went one direction and then back because that's the same order that I stitched it. I'm just going in reverse. And then I'm just gonna pull on this little piece and there we go. The little piece of floss came out. If this was a longer piece, I might be able to reuse this, but this is way too small to do that in this case. And then I'm just gonna go back and restitch it where it's supposed to be.
I hope that helps. If you have any more questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, and happy stitching!